Hi guys.
Hi guys. Hi guys. Hi guys.
Is there a delay? Is it working? Is this working? Oh. I have some settings to correct. This is why. Is there a delay? Is it working? Right, I had to. The echo should be resolved, I think. For some reason all the sound was coming back to me from my iPad, so that should be resolved. Let me know if everything... I have turned my volume down, but there's a delay in the stream. I can see there's a quite a delay in the stream. This is weird. No, I can't use the chat for some reason. Let me see. And for some reason I have to use my phone. Let's see, how can I... It's a bit weird. I can see myself on the screen over there, but it's delayed. There's about 30 seconds delay, and I can't check the audio myself, so I'm really dependent on you guys to let me know if there are still any issues. From my side it seems to be working, but I'm not sure, and if the audio doesn't resolve itself I have to switch some mics over. Is it any better now? Oh, there's a delay, I can see it. Oh my goodness. Let's try something. Hopefully. No more echo? All right. No more echo. Great. And I can see the chat over there. And I don't know if there's a delay. No more echo? Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you, Shadar. Thank you, and thank you guys all for showing up. All right. No more echo. Great, and I can see the chat. Fixed. Okay, great, great, great. Seems to be fixed, and I'm going to check real quick on my phone how much delay there is on the stream. Oh. I think the echo, the faint echo, should be gone as well right now. For some reason my iPad is looping the internal audio as well, I think. So hopefully everything is gone now, and that's why this is a test test stream, and I'm a bit nervous, to be honest, because I wanted everything to go perfect for the first time. But yeah, that's not to be expected, of course. But I'm glad so many of you came, and I will try to keep an eye on chat. I have a screen down there, and I wanted to see chat on that screen, but it isn't working for some reason. I can try if I can get it to show up there. So I can take a look at chat, have a look at chat while I'm talking into the camera instead of looking to the side. So how are you guys? I see Barry, mixed guitars, Owen Kelly, a lot of familiar names. Steve, of course, Barry. And the Misadventures of a Little Wolf. Great username. I have to switch it. I can't read it from that far. I'm sorry guys, I have to keep an eye on chat on this screen, unfortunately. I have to come up with some methods of running a stream, looking at chat and talking into the camera, and hopefully at some point I can do some work as well while I'm doing this stream. Hi Zeph, of course my wife, Kay Marie, Graham, nice to see you, hi. And yeah, I don't know guys, this is like I said, a test stream for me to test my setup. It's a brand new thing that you can stream from an iPad apparently. So I downloaded brand new software on my iPad Pro and hooked up a camera, hooked up an Ethernet connection via a hub. So of course there's some delay. The amount of cables on the back of this iPad is just ridiculous. And of course my main camera, second monitor, and if all goes well, hopefully in the future I'm able to add a second camera as well. So yeah, I'm glad this is working so far. But if you happen to come across any issues, yeah, let me know in chat, and yeah, hopefully we can fix it today so we can have a better experience the next time I go live. Yeah, Mix Guitars, I've just seen your chat message. Currently I have only one camera set up, and I can add the internal cameras of my iPad to the stream as well to do a face cam or something like that. But currently I only have one camera set up in the workshop, and like I said, hopefully in the future I'm able to afford a secondary camera to have multiple angle stream. So that's something I have to save up for, and hopefully one day I can afford a second camera. That will help shooting my regular videos as well. Yeah, time for coffee. Yes, please. Yes, please. The workshop looks great. Thank you. Misadventures of a Little Wolf. Thank you very much. Tom Hommels, hi, and congratulations on the birth of your son. Nice to see you in chat. You have a moment to yourself. Congratulations. We'll come and visit real soon. Thank you, Stan T. Ford. Thank you very much for the compliment. I love you guys as well. And yeah, oh man, this is going to be hard keeping up with chat. And I really want to look at the camera and look at you guys instead of peering off to the sides to my screen. But hey, for now, it is what it is. Like the orange border. Yeah, Graham, me too. Should I give you guys a sneak peek? The Misadventure of a Little Wolf. Do you sell the t-shirts that you are wearing? They look great. Yeah, the t-shirts I'm wearing in the video. Oh, here comes the coffee. Thank you very much. Nice cup of coffee. Yeah, the t-shirts I'm wearing in the video at the moment, with the new Enquendo Guitars logo and the Phoenix Rising logo, are for sale in my merchandise shop. And there's a link in all the video descriptions. And when you're looking at a video, there's a shopping bar underneath, a Teespring shop, where you can purchase t-shirts, hoodies, and coffee mugs. Oh, Owen Kelly, I'll keep that in mind. If I need any Apple stuff, I will get in touch with you. My whole house runs on Apple stuff, to be honest. But yeah, great stuff. All right, sneak peek. Sneak peek. I promise you a sneak peek. This will be in Monday's video. Monday's video will show you this result, so you're just a couple of days early, but that's a present for me to you guys for showing up. Here's the sneak peek. The orange stripes, the orange binding on the sides of the fretboards, both of them. And of course we're going to finish these off by adding the original wood back as a fourth layer of binding on the edges, and that will be a closed binding. So that will be in a video after I'm doing the inlays. Currently I'm shooting a video where I'm doing the inlays, and that's going to be something else also. So yeah, sneak peek for Monday's video, in which I will do these orange stripes alongside the fretboard. Mick Guitars, oh, you stained the binding. Yeah, I wish. Well, it will be in Monday's video, but I had to order some orange veneer. Because my experiment of staining the veneer or the binding myself didn't go as planned, and that I have to take some time in the future to do some more experimenting on how to stain your own veneer and how to stain your own binding. Yeah, mixed. That's what I did. I just bought the veneers. But when I first started looking for colored veneers, I couldn't find any near me or from a supplier that supplied to the Netherlands. I know there are some abroad, but they couldn't ship to me, unfortunately, and that's sometimes the case, unfortunately, that some suppliers don't ship to Europe, or shipping is a hassle. But fortunately, I did manage to find some orange veneers from suppliers that could supply to me. That was nice, gorgeous. Yeah, that was the sneak peek. What else do I have? Have you ever experimented with compressed wood products? Josh asked. No, well, that's a coincidence, because one of the fretboards I've been working on is not really compressed wood, but it's a heat-treated wood, and it's also treated with polymer resins to harden it. So it's actually maple. It's the base material is maple, and it's heat-treated and pressure-treated to become more like ebony. So it's as hard and wear-resistant as ebony is. So not really a compressed wood per se, but it is a treated wood. Yeah, Owen Kelly, if you're from Ireland, you might have the same problem, that especially the restrictions set by the EU might prevent us from ordering certain stuff. Are you going to do any more gloss finishes? The one you did before was brilliant. Stanty Ford asked, and the answer is yes, I will. I'm working on something with a supplier to supply me with some different kinds of finishes, and I always intended this Phoenix build to be in a gloss finish, or at least a lacquer finish. So yeah, the answer is yes. You will see more lacquer, wear-resistant finishes coming from me here from the workshop. Vasilis asked, how many hours do you usually spend on a build? Well, it depends, but I usually say around 150 hours, but these days I spend much more hours on building the guitar because of making YouTube videos. I think most of my time during a day is spent on setting up shots, making sure everything is lighted correctly and the camera works properly, and sometimes have to do several takes, to be honest, especially when I'm speaking English. I tend to I tend to lose my train of thought often, because I have to constantly think about what I want to say and have to translate it while recording. So there's a lot of retakes when I'm talking. And yeah, so these days making building guitars takes way longer because of making the videos. It's more making videos during the day while I'm building a guitar, or the other way around. So hopefully that answered your question, but usually it's about 100 to 150 hours depending on the intricacy of the guitar. Manufactured in Sweden, what's the name of that product? I'm not certain where you're aiming at, Josh, but I'm glad to let you know if I know what you mean, what you're aiming at. Funny, just ordered stains from the Netherlands. Yeah, most likely the TLC Guitar Goods. TLC Guitar Goods, that they supply, at least as far as I'm aware, to anyone in Europe. A nice alternative to, for example, StewMac. Whoa, it's going fast. I didn't realize the chat could go this fast. I use them on my build, they're quite nice. Yeah, TLC stains, nice stains. I use both Crimson guitar stains. It's still the set I got as a prize for the Great Guitar Build-Off a couple of years back. And I'm currently also using the TLC Guitar Good stains, and they're both very similar. Yeah, hot pink, cool. Oh, the wood product, Josh. No, it's from Canada. It's from Thermal Wood Canada. If you look up the previous video or the one before where I started working on the fretboards on my channel, I mentioned them, and there's a link down below. It's Thermal Wood in Canada, where the treated maple comes from. They call it obsidian ebony. Yeah, TLC usually is cheaper than StewMac, but you have to be a bit aware of what you're buying, to be honest. Graham Christie, have you ever made an acoustic guitar? Unfortunately not. It's still one of the things on my wish list if I have the time to do so. And to be honest, I think it's a different art entirely. Of course, it's also woodworking, and you have to be precise, but building a great sounding and a great playing acoustic guitar is a whole different story, in my opinion, in comparison to electric guitars. But it's still something I want to try at one point, and I have an idea of maybe doing a collaboration with the Haan Guitars here in the Netherlands to maybe do a course with him. It's a guitar building school here in the Netherlands, and maybe do a course there while making a YouTube video while I'm doing the course of building a acoustic guitar. So that's one thing, if I have the time, I will certainly try. Barry asks, how do the TLC stains compare to the crimson ones and the chestnut ones? Well, I can't speak for the chestnut ones, but both the crimson guitars, the stunning stains, the water-based stains, and the TLC Guitar Goods sustains are maybe even the same product. They work exactly the same. There's no noticeable difference. And yeah, what is a stain? It's just pigment, colored pigment, diluted in or suspended in this case, water. So in my opinion, or in my experience, they work absolutely the same. Maybe the difference is that the vibrant guitar stains from TLC are indeed a bit more vibrant. But that has more to do with the coloring than how they function, because they work absolutely exactly the same. Come on. Yep. Thanks for the info. Serdar Carven, you mentioned that you have a day job. I wonder what I do. Well, I have a part-time day job. From Monday till Wednesday, I work as an electrical engineer and a draftsman. So my main job is to draw out electrotechnical schematics, and I used to be a CAD specialist. So I specialized myself in setting up all kinds of CAD software for companies like AutoCAD, SolidWorks, AutoCAD Electrical, SolidWorks Electrical, Fusion, you name it, all kinds of software used by engineer companies on their to make their drawings and the 3D models. And that's what I previously did before I switched jobs. I switched to a relative easier job as just an electrical engineer and a draftsman, so I could free up my mind and time for Unquendo Guitars. With the start of last year, so 2023, I decided to try and work less. So instead of working 40 hours a week, I started working 20 hours a week so I could free up more hours for Inquendo guitars and try to make this work. And thus far, yeah, there's been some pits and obstacles along the way, as many of you are well aware of. But yeah, it's getting better, and yeah, this year I'm going to try and make it worthwhile, and hopefully I can keep working at least 20 hours with Inquendo guitars, not counting the weekends and the evenings, so because I'm always working for Inquendo guitars. But hopefully I don't have to go back to working 40 hours for an employer anymore. And hopefully I can start working more for Inquendo guitars in the future. So I hope that answered your question. Now we can start discussing if tonewood is a thing, and the chat will go on fire. Well, I said in the description we can talk about almost any topic. Maybe tonewood isn't one of them. No, I'm silly. Of course we can discuss tonewood, and if you guys interested in my opinion, we can go there. Ben from Crimson told me off for saying that, Mick. Oh, tonewood maybe. It's amazing how many of us luthiers are also IT nerds. Yeah, we need something to do with our hands when we've worked with our head the entire day. You're right, Owen. Yeah, most IT engineering is creative problem solving. Yeah, there's an overlap between making stuff and engineering. It's exactly the same, and I think if you have a background in engineering, you know how to work precise and to be precise to some extent, and that translates very well into building guitars. Yeah, definitely close-over skills. Yeah, it's a thing. Like Vas. I'm sorry, I'm butchering the name. Vasilis talks about that it's quite soothing when you've been working at on a keyboard and behind the screen all day. That it's very soothing to unwind in a workshop and doing something with your hands. If it's woodworking, guitar building, or playing guitar, or anything creative, I think it's a necessity if you're working behind a desk all day to do something creative in the weekends or at night. And that's also one of the reasons why I don't use a CNC machine or at this point any laser cutters or anything that is driven by a computer, because I'm used to using CAD software all day, every day for years. I didn't want to do the same thing at home, to come home from making drawings and 3D models all day and then, well, after dinner, let's do it all over again, go to sleep and go to work and be at a desk all day again. So that's one of the reasons why I never got into CNC, although making the 3D models and the drawings needed are, yeah, come natural to me. Are not that difficult to get into. Tone stain, yeah, that's definitely a thing. I think if you want the best tone, you have to use a TLC guitar good stain. I think that's the best, the only way to do it. It's how everyone did it in the past. Oh, sorry guys. Yeah, you're welcome, Serdar. Yeah, the misadventures. You're leatherworking, dabbling in guitar building. I try it the other way around sometimes. I try to build guitars and make videos about it. And when a guitar is done, I always try to make my own leather guitar straps. And I think that's a very relaxing thing to do, especially when I'm stitching the edges by hand using a saddle stitch. I can just do it inside on the couch when I'm watching my favorite series of a movie. I can just do the stitches. It's very relaxing, especially when you're always fidgeting with your hands, as you can see. And then when you're watching a movie and you can just stitch the leather, it's very relaxing and it helps. Yeah. But nice to know. If I ever need some intricate leather work, I'll contact you. Oh, it's Greek. It's Greek. All right. Yeah, and tiny letters. My glasses are need replacement, to be honest. And I have a mild form of dyslexia. Facilis, all right. Seth Neeson, I'm a furniture maker who hobbies in guitar making when I'm not smashing golf balls. Well, I really like to try golf one day. It's on my bucket list to learn how to play golf one day, if time permits. But for now, it's just work and this little shed. And of course you guys, I'm doing it all for you guys. Hi Papa, greetings from the Netherlands. Nice to see you, nice you could join us. Another familiar name from the comment section and such. Mixed guitars, do I sell my straps? Yeah, if someone likes to have an authentic Unquendo guitar strap, just give me an email, send me an email there in the comment section down below or on my website. Just drop me an email and we'll get you sorted. I usually make my straps to go with a certain guitar, but sometimes I make a couple more. And I don't know if I currently have any in stock, but if you want me to make you a strap, we can sort things out. Just send me an email. And that goes for anything. I get so many comments, it's sometimes ridiculous, the amount of comments I get daily. So any inquiries about products, guitar straps, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, yeah, just drop me an email, and I always highlight my emails, and a couple of times a week I sit down and answer all my emails. So yeah, if you like to order something or want to inquire about something, just drop me an email. That's the easiest way for me to not forget. Yeah, Barry, I can see where you're coming from. If you're working with wood all day, that it might be something different, not something you are likely to do in the evenings as well, building guitars. But hey, maybe the change is something you like. I don't know. Owen Kelly, is Unquendo a reference to Lord of the Rings? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I intend to make a video about it one day. It's something on my to-do list for a while now, but it never seems to be the... I never can seem to make the time for it. Yeah, Unquendo comes from Quenya. It's an elven language invented by, of course, Tolkien, the writer of Lord of the Rings, for those who don't know. And in Quenya, Unquendor, translated to English, means hollow land. And if you translate hollow land from English into Dutch, you get Holland or the Netherlands. And way back when the internet first came up and people started to use usernames, I was looking for a username to use online. And we had a little Tolkien dictionary, an Elvish dictionary, and I was just going through it, and I saw Unquendor with the translation into Holland, Hollow Land or Holland, and that's when I started using Unquendor. So yeah, it's indeed a reference to my other hobby, which is fantasy novels, fantasy movies, a bit of nerdy stuff. So yeah. Yeah, Mark Whalem. yeah, it's a good alternative. I have nothing against CNC, using CNC for your guitar builds. If you're into programming, into 3D modeling, and like to not only make guitars but the technical stuff that comes with using a CNC machine, I can see the appeal to that as well. Like I said earlier, I don't want to spend hours behind a desk when I come home from a busy day job, and I really like to use hand tools. And to be honest, I start to use planes and chisels more and more instead of grabbing my router or sandpaper or something like that. I start to use bladed tools more and more because it's very satisfying and less messy. My worst when it comes to hand tools is sharpening. Well, sharpening doesn't have to be that... Oh, new coffee. Warm coffee. Well, sharpening doesn't have to be that difficult. Usually it's, in my opinion, the tools you're using to sharpen your blades. I, for example, here we go, only use DMT diamond sharpening stones. I tried everything out there, from water stones, oil stones, the scary sharpening system, you name it, everything. But the kitchen sink I tried, and I always spent hours and hours trying to get my tool sharp, following all kinds of tutorials on YouTube. But when it comes to sharpening, it's, in my opinion, quite simple. Make sure that the tool you're using, whether it's diamond stones or whetstones, make sure they're absolutely dead flat. And that's the problem often with oil stones or water stones. They need a lot of maintenance to make sure they're absolutely dead flat. And that's why I started using diamond stones. They're nice and flat. And when it comes to sharpening, there are some things you have to focus on. A lot of tutorials online tell you that the entire back of your chisel, of your blade, needs to be flat, while in reality only the first couple of millimeters need to be absolutely flat. And your bevel needs to be perfect. And to help you with that, invest in a guide, some kind of guide that helps you to maintain the correct angle when using your sharpening stones. When you buy new blades, or the first time you're going to use good quality sharpening stones, focus on the first couple of millimeters on the back of your chisel and on your bevel. And you don't have to be that precise. It doesn't have to be 23.09 degrees. Just keep the bevel somewhere between 20 and 25 degrees. Usually what the manufacturer has said on it works great. And just run across a couple of grids. I always use a fine, extra fine and ultra fine, until I have a nice shiny bevel. And sharp is sharp enough, and it's something you have to experience for yourself. I can give a couple of tips on sharpening, but it is something you have to experience, what you have to do to get a nice sharp blade. But it isn't rocket science, as long as you have one flat surface on one side and one flat surface on the other side that come together at nothing, then you have a sharp blade. And when you've sharpened it for the first time, then it's a matter of maintaining it. So when you're planing, when you're using a chisel, only once in a while run it across your super fine sharpening stone just to maintain the bevel, and it should stay sharp for a very long while. Hopefully that answered your question real quick instead of doing a full sharpening tutorial. And if you like me to make a sharpening tutorial for my sharpening method, yeah, let me know in the comments. Yeah, Mick, yeah, sharpening takes practice. Yeah, diamond plates, they're just easy to use, much easier. Spend a couple of bucks on a good set of diamond plates. They're quite expensive, but they should last you almost a lifetime without the hassle and frustration of having to flatten your water stones every time you want to use them. It's a time saver. Yeah, honing guide, I couldn't recall the name, but indeed, Barry, it's a honing guide, diamond stones. Nice honing guide from Veritas. Yeah, it's a good honing guide. This is the elongated one from Lee Nielsen. It's my only Lee Nielsen tool, but I'm very happy with it. Yeah, you can have some success, Vasilis, with the scabby sharpening system. It wasn't for me because of the switching off the paper on glass as such. It wasn't for me, too much hassle. But you can get great results with it. Yeah, the Sharpie trick. I always use the Sharpie trick along each side of the bevel just to make sure everything, I'm taking off material evenly along the entire width of the blade. Quarter circle, welcome, welcome. You're not too late, you're not too late. We are just chatting, I'm answering questions from chat. And how did the French polish go? Did it all go according to plan? It's also something I like to try one day, French polishing. I think it's my kind of finish because I like to keep working on a finish. And I think with French polish, because you have to keep moving, you have to keep applying layer after layer in one go. I think it's really my thing, and I really need to give it a go one day. Thank you, Milehouse Studios, thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy with how the workshop turned out and how the backdrop turned out. And there are people who see my thumbnails or see the intros of my videos and they don't think it's real. But yeah, it's real, they're real tools. And yeah, it took some time, and not without some bears and wolves across the road. How do you say it in English? Not without obstacles and difficulties, but yeah, I'm very happy with how this looks right now, and it's still a work in progress. I have some ideas for these cabinets to stain them a bit darker. I have nice handles for them with labels, so yeah, I'm still working on it, but it's coming there, it's getting along, it's coming along, yeah. Paul's here, party's over. Yeah, there's a lot of flirting going on. Bromances in the chat. I like it. It's good to see, and I'm real fortunate, guys. That I'm going to be a bit sentimental, maybe, but yeah, I'm very fortunate. We have a small little community here on my channel, but I see the similar names on other channels as well, and I think the current guitar builders community, like I know it's a very close community, and I'm very fortunate that I rarely get any negative comments on my videos, and I know that's a rare thing on the internet these days, that you can post whatever you like, and I'm doing what I like, and without getting too much negative feedback. And I have to knock on wood, because after saying this, I know when I wake up tomorrow I have 200 negative comments on my videos. But yeah, I think I'm very fortunate to have a community with you guys replying and interacting with my content. So thank you all very much, and yeah, I know I'm fortunate. I love reading chat, guys. I'm sorry. I get distracted. Are there any? Earlier today, but I don't know. I haven't seen his name yet. There was someone who wanted to know how to join the live stream, because he had a question on measuring fret slots. But I haven't seen that question. And if I'd missed them, please post it again if you're here. I can't recall your name. I'm very, very sorry. Is the audio still good, guys? Not too loud, not clipping? Because I can see it clipping sometimes, but the program I'm using is fairly basic. Like I said in the beginning of the stream, it's the first time ever that you can live stream from an iPad Pro. Only the latest update, iOS update, allows for connecting external cameras. So the software I'm using, not even OBS has an app on the iPad yet to live stream. There's software is called Camo Studio, for anyone who's interested. That's made live streaming software for the iPad. Okay, so I know I have to plug in my audio interface directly into the camera and let the camera do the audio instead of plugging it into my capture card. So learn something, and that's perfect for me, because I can leave my audio setup as it is when I'm recording videos. That it saves me a lot of hassle to disconnect everything and connect everything to a hub here in the back of my iPad. So thank you guys for letting me know that seems to work. Well, chat is working, at least in my software, so I can see the chat over there. Cool. It's nice to know that the live stream is working, and like I said, hopefully in the future I can get multiple cameras running to make it a bit more interesting. Rob McKay, thank you, welcome to the stream. How do I like my workbench? Yeah, to be honest, it's a great workbench. The up and down feature is incredible. It comes in so, how do you call it, handy every time. Today I unboxed a bigger machine. This will be in a upcoming video, but I can just lower the bench, use bigger machines, do bigger projects on the bench, I can raise it if I want to stand up and do delicate work. Yeah, it's amazing. The device is great. The only downside is that it's a bit wobbly when planing big pieces, but that's not necessarily the fault of the workbench. It's because the workbench is bolted to just a wooden floor, and I've ordered a steel plate that goes underneath. It's an accessory for this workbench. It's just a big heavy steel plate you can bolt the workbench to and then screw it down onto the floor, so you have a better surface area, and that should prevent the wobbling. And hopefully, I expect the plate to arrive hopefully tomorrow, but maybe coming week, and then the workbench will be perfect if it doesn't wobble as much anymore. So yeah, I'm very happy with the bench. Milehouse Studios, thank you. I believe it's Paul, if I saw it correctly, if we're on first name basis. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm lost for words at the moment. Yeah, patience is one thing I always preach, and I think it's very important. And well, I'm honest. I'm always honest. Even I sometimes struggle with being patient, especially the pressure from having to release a video in the past weighed heavy on my shoulders, and I always try to be as patient as possible, but to be honest, it sometimes was a struggle, and we all know where that went. But at the moment, I'm doing fine, and indeed, I'm convinced that being patient is the best thing, yeah, not only in guitar building but in life. Just be a bit more patient. Thank you, Paul, and good luck picking up the kids. Drive safe. Great final rehearsal, thank you. It's my wife, and supplier of great coffee. I also wouldn't know what to do without her. The support, you guys support me a lot, but the amount of support I get from my wife is something that deserves to be mentioned often. Without her, this wouldn't be possible. It's fairly simple. If you don't have a partner that supports you in crazy little efforts like this, you can't do it unless you're single. Owen Kelly, so what can we all do to help? I'm not sure what you mean. If you want to help me setting up this stream, yeah, I would like, I don't know if there's someone in the live chat, if it comes to the stream, that's not subscribed to my channel yet. I have set up several notifications for people who are subscribing to the channel during the chat. And also, and I don't like mentioning this, but if you want to support me directly, yeah, of course, buy some merch, buy a guitar, to be honest, or leave a tip or a super chat. That would be very helpful, for example, for me getting a second camera. If you want to help me with setting up the chat, setting up the stream, yeah, let me know what you guys think. If the quality of the stream is what you expected, if there's something you like me to do to change. Of course, in the future I'll be working on projects, but I expected much more technical difficulties during this stream. So if I'm too dark, I'm too light, how's the quality for you guys? That's something you can help me with, and maybe if you like to do so, try and see if the notifications work. Yeah, this is what I meant, and I know there's a bit of a delay between me and the chat, I think, but Owen Kelly, this is what I meant. Let's see if I can get the chat up and running, help me to sort out technical difficulties, test stuff, but like I said, I expected much more technical difficulties, but apart from the audio, in which you guys were patient to let me know when there was an echo and when it was good. And that's what I wanted to help with. I can live stream, but if there isn't any audience to give me feedback, which you are all very kind to provide, yeah, I don't know if the stream is good and if you like me to do it more. Okay, yeah, it's oh, well, it's not 4K. I thought about streaming in 4K because I've set up my internet connection and I wanted to do a trailer, but I didn't have any time because for this live stream I had to run a Ethernet cable underneath my house, through the garden into the shed, and I had to get a brand new fiber connection. I can now stream with approximately 900 Mbits, so almost 1 gigabit upstream and downstream internet here in the shed. so I'm glad I did, and I could stream in 4K. The camera is 4K, but I think it will strain the iPad a bit too much. But I'm glad the quality is great. Hey Mick, thank you for visiting and good luck with mowing the lawn. Yeah, 4K live is tricky. I tried it and it works, but it's everything gets so hot and it's not really necessary to stream in 4K. And also a lot of the streaming software like Stream Elements for the notifications in the chat and such doesn't run on 4K yet. So I think 1080p 60 frames a second is good enough. And let me know, did it hang for you guys, or is there any lag noticeable in on the streaming part besides the lag between me talking to you and you guys can reply to me in the chat? I'm not going to ask for spoilers, but I'm excited to see how you figured out the orange binding on the Phoenix. Well, quarter, circle, BK, everyone else already had the spoilers. And you're going to see how I did it on Monday, so please all do watch that video, at least let it run the full length, and leave a comment and leave a thumbs up. The reason why everyone's asking for that, because it really helps other people to find my content and help me grow the channel so I can improve the quality by, again, for example, adding a second camera. But here is the spoiler, and I'm going to move chat for a moment. And what's this? I don't know. Is there a white square on your guys' screen as well? No, there's a white square. So, but here's the spoiler alert. The orange binding, and of course I'm going to finish this off with a tiny strip of the original fretboard wood, the strips I cut from the fretboards at the beginning of the video series. So this is the obsidian ebony, and here's the regular ebony. So you can see there is a two-part or three-part binding stripe on the edge of the fretboard. It's orange, black, orange, and I'll show you how I did it in the upcoming video. No lag at all. All right, it seems a bit laggy on my side, but that might have to do with the loops created when interconnecting everything with both Wi-Fi and HDMI and audio cables. It's it was a challenge last week to get everything set up and running, and I'm very, very happy that we're not trying to overcome technical difficulties in this stream. Although it's not what I didn't prepare anything because I was really in the assumption we would be chasing technical difficulties for a while, but we seem to be fine. Okay, looks great, looks great. Yeah, there's a... I'm going to switch scenes for a moment, guys. Don't panic. I have a strange square on my screen. Let's see. My Be Right Back screen. Yeah, there's a... Oh, I think I knew. I think someone tipped or someone subscribed. I think that was what the white square might have been. I have to look into it. Do I have any tools on your wish list you'd like to add to the new workshop? Yes. Owen, there are some. Of course, I still like to have a planer thicknesser. It's one of those tools I really like to have, a good spiral cutter planer thicknesser here in the shop to make life even easier than with my thickness sander and other tools. Well, this is a similar question to when someone asks you what you like to have for your birthday or for Christmas. When you're an adult and you have adult money, you don't really think about it. It's one of those things that just comes up. Oh, I want to have this, and you go to a store and go get it. Well, another surprise is, and that's also in the upcoming video, I just bought a scroll saw, for example, to help me make my inlays even more intricate and more precise. So that's one of those things that was on my wish list, but wasn't really necessary until I came across a nice offer and I bought a scroll saw. There is one tool I'm thinking about almost daily. It's not necessary here for the workshop here, but it's a laser cutter. And to be honest with you guys, I get asked so often if I do sell templates, if I sell my jigs and such, and do intricate inlays, and that's something I am thinking about, of getting a good quality laser cutter to be able to offer template making services, make some of my jigs available for you guys, and so that's something I'm thinking about. But that's getting the tool is not the main problem. I think I can manage to get a good quality laser cutter one way or another. But the thing is, you're not only getting a tool, you're starting an entire new business, and that's something I have to consider if I want to do that, yes or no. So, but that's one thing I'm thinking of often, a good quality laser cutter, just to monetize some of my work so I can extend the channel and expand the Quendo Guitars brand. Did you get much glue in the fret slots? Yeah, but I'll explain it in the in the upcoming video. As you can see, this part of the binding still has the fret slots cut into them. So I cleaned up that mess, and yeah, I think I have to be very careful when I'm going to glue on the last strip. Yeah, Rod McKay, be patient. I've started cutting the first inlays this afternoon, and I'm really excited. I have things planned that I'm not sure are doable even, but yeah, I think the inlays are going to be great. But we have to be patient for a while until that video goes live. Very Christian, you would like a workshop? Well, exactly 1 year ago I also didn't have a workshop, and look where we are now. It's been a year, guys. This shed, yeah, a year ago there was nothing here, and I think 1 or 2 weeks from now is when we put down the shed. I've got to go. My other half wants to go to Tesco. She doesn't. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's sometimes your spouse can have different priorities. But yeah, thank you very much, Owen. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you next time. And don't buy too much groceries at Tesco's. You'll be in Amsterdam for a day in 2 weeks. Yeah, have a pint on me, Owen. And yeah, unfortunately, Amsterdam is a bit too far, but yeah, have a nice time there, and I'll see you in a future stream. Have a nice evening. And the stream does work on your mobile, so let her drive, and you can still watch the stream. But I don't know for how long we're going, guys. It's been an hour. Let's say we go on for half an hour. If there's interesting questions, we can go on. I can talk forever, but I know I don't want anyone to feel obliged to stay in the stream. So yeah, let's say we go for another half an hour, unless there are very interesting questions or conversations to come up. But yeah, every time. Yeah, you don't have to feel obliged to stay in the chat while I'm streaming. Quarter circle BK, you're working from a makerspace. That's interesting. We don't have many makerspaces in the area I'm living. I think there's maybe one in a town over, but it's something that's lacking, unfortunately, in the area where I'm at. I know there are usually in the cities that have universities and colleges and such, they tend to have maker spaces, but where I'm at, nope, unfortunately, and I think that's it's a shame. I think there are a lot of people, younger folk, who would like to be doing something creative in a workshop like this, but don't have the space and don't have a thing like a worker space available to them. And it's something I think that's lacking a bit at least in the area where I'm at. So great to hear you have at least you can do something in the worker space, and well, a workshop is nice to have, but it can wait. It can wait. At least you can do something. As long as you're single, you can do whatever you want, little wolf. Yeah, I think it's a good thing I'm not single anymore, because I think my entire house would be a workshop. It's not far off right now, because the dining table is wood storage and tool store and part storage, and I have the entire second floor, and for the Americans the third floor. The what used to be the attic is both my showroom, storage for guitars, my office, practice place, you name it. So I've got an entire floor inside the house for my guitars as well, and then the living room and the dining table are also partially claimed as storage. So if I was single, I'm sure my entire house, I think one of the bedrooms would be a spray booth. No space for a bandsaw in a New York City apartment. It depends on the size of your apartment or the size of your bandsaw. I'm sure if I was single in an apartment in New York City, I would find a way to fit a bandsaw. if it only was a small tabletop bench, so at least I could fit in a pencil, I'm sure. Same as I think I can fit a bed right where the camera tripod is right now. I can fit a bed and maybe a kitchen in the shed as well. Don't tell. Oh, my wife is watching. I think. But it's good to have a makerspace. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. I've mentioned this before. She's a keeper, little wolf, for sure. And she's here in chat, so she can. I think. Yeah, I can barely see her through the window. And she's here in chat, so yeah. When the stream is over, I think we're going to look if there's a nice movie to watch or a series. Have some quality time before we go to bed. And tomorrow it's back to cutting inlays. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's thirsty. And luckily it's not as hot as it was yesterday. Yesterday it was over 32 degrees Celsius in the workshop. I don't know how to convert to Fahrenheit, but it was hot, and I'm lucky that today was a cooler day and I can at least be in the workshop, because the previous 3 days I couldn't be in the workshop. It was just too hot. As long as I was sitting still, it was manageable, but as soon as you started to even pick up a tool, sweat was drenching everywhere. And I couldn't shoot any videos, and that's sometimes the downside of filming everything you do. You have to be somewhat presentable, I think. Let's see, any questions? Yeah, it's a good finishing process. Quarter circle BK. The oil finishes or hard wax oil finishes are very good finishes to do in your apartment or inside the house. They don't smell as bad as lacquer or varnish finishes. You don't have to worry about dust getting into your finish. So yeah, for anyone who's building guitars on their kitchen table or on their bed or inside their house, I can really recommend using hard wax oil finishes for your guitars. Little Wolf, if you're from Scotland, I think you had summer 2-3 weeks ago for a couple of days. I know my little brother went to Scotland to walk the West Highland Way, and he had un-Scottish weather. It was clear and blue and sunny for the entire week he was there, and I said, well, you're very, very lucky, and that was the entire summer in Scotland, I think. Usually you guys have it even worse than we have here in the Netherlands. Any luthier tools you have bought, Daniel, that have ended up being a waste of time? Luthier tools that I think are a waste of time or a waste of money. Let's see, I have to think about it. Yeah, maybe. Are they a waste of money or time? It depends, and I'm always a bit hesitant to say if something's bad or if it's useless or a waste of money, because what doesn't work for me can be a solution to a problem you might have with one of your other tools. So I think it depends highly on your preferences, on your skills, if a specific tool does or doesn't work for you. And I don't believe I ever been negative about anything, I hope, or at least not that you shouldn't buy this, or 99 of the woodworkers waste their money on this, all those clickbaity titles you see these days, and that's not something for me. But one thing I regret to some extent buying are these fret crowning files. These are from TLC Goods, but StewMac has everyone and their grandma sells these recrowning files, diamond recrowning files, a medium one, 150 grit and a 300 grit for a medium and wide frets. And I think I could have done it without them. I've bought them when I had to do some stainless steel frets, but the downside for me is you can't see what you're doing if you're recrowning, because the fret disappears under the tool. You can't see what you're doing, and if your fret isn't high enough, you're taking off the top edge you spend a lot of time and effort in leveling, and because you can't see what you're doing, there's a chance you're hitting your finely leveled top of your fret. So instead of recrowning, you're destroying your time and your work. So yeah, these don't work for me as well as they should have. The only thing I use them for now is making my bullet ends, or the round over ends on the end of the frets, because you can just scrape this tool over the end of the fret and it creates a nice, like your fingertip, a nice rounded edge on the end of your fret. But for recrowning, I prefer a triangular file. How to put them back? Not like this, not like so. Nope. Yeah, I managed to put them back. What did that answer your question? Super glue sucks? Well, it's amazing. Super glue is amazing. I love CA glue. But you have to get the good ones and use the correct viscosity for the job you're trying to do. But yeah, you can't build guitars without super glue. The rain is slightly warmer in summer. Yeah, yes indeed. I use nitro for my guitar and I had to wait for the proper temperature to spray outside. Yeah, Vasilis, both temperature, but more important to my understanding is humidity. Humidity is very important when spraying lacquer. Don't ask me if it should be high or low or whatever, but what I've been told, humidity is very important, even more important than temperature. 32 degrees is almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Thank you, Papa. Sewing machine for the straps. Yeah, that's also a tool. Yeah, my wife reminded me a tool that's still on the wish list, and that's a good old-fashioned leather sewing machine to sew the straps in, so I don't have to do it by hand. That I can, if I need to do a batch, that I can do it with a machine instead of by hand. So yeah, thank you, Kirsten, for reminding me about the sewing machine. Grey and cold, also from Scotland, and yeah, summer has been and gone already. 4 days in June and that's it. Yeah, I remember the Scottish summer of 2021. I believe it was on a Tuesday. It's one of the jokes. And yeah. it might have its pros and cons, Little Wolf, sewing by hand or by machine. No midges yet, I think. Midgie season is a bit later. Oh, the super glue as a finish. No, super glue isn't the finish. Super glue is a glue. It's to stick two parts together. And don't use it as a finish. Oh, nice to hear, Vasilis, that you managed to find a small little window in which you could spray your guitar. I made that mistake myself once when I tried to, I think, spray paint my first guitar. The first guitar I spray painted it. I thought, well, I need to heat my shed. It was middle of winter or ending of winter, so I put on a gas stove in my shed until it was nice and warm. I started spraying. But the downside of using a gas stove in a shed is you're going to raise the humidity to ridiculous levels. It's 80 to 90% humidity. And the finish didn't come out great. It didn't fully harden, and I had to redo it. And that had to do with humidity. Favorite guitar other than the ones you make? Oh, that's a good question. Well, if we're talking about guitars I own, it's definitely my Westone Pantera X390 Deluxe in Caspian Blue. I really love that guitar. And other than that, I used to love the SG. One of my first guitars was a copy, SG copy. And other than that, I don't have that much experience with different guitars other than my own. I bought my Westone when I was 15, 16 from the first money I made from my first job. I bought that guitar and played it ever since, up until the point I started making my own guitar. So yeah, it might sound a bit weird, but I've never been that much into different types of guitars, and the same goes with tools. If I find something that works for me, I usually stick with it, and yeah, and that's it. So my absolute favorite guitar is my Westone Pantera. That's why I made a tribute. But I love that question. I've never thought about it or never talked about it on my channel. No, machine stitching doesn't look as good as hand stitching. If it takes a while until you can make neat and consistent saddle stitches, but yeah, if it works and they're all nice and slightly slanted, it really looks great, and you can twist the wire so it lays nice and flat in between the stitches. It's great to do it by hand. Yeah, I heartily agree with you, Little Wolf. Do you have favorite bodywood? Yes, Black Limba. Whoa, whoa. Nice workshop, but it's falling apart. Yeah, Black Limba is my absolute favorite bodywood. It looks great, it works great. It has a good weight to density ratio. It's comparable to mahogany, but it looks great, and there's a reason why more and more guitar builders are switching to Corina or Black Limba. It's the same species of wood, different trade name, but yeah, Black Limba is my favorite bodywood. I use it on my fretboard. It looks great. Oh yeah, don't use super glue on your fretboard. Don't use anything but lemon oil or it's behind me. use specialized fretboard oils for your fretboard. Don't use anything else except maybe for a white maple fretboard you can lacquer it and use the same lacquer as the rest of the guitar, just like Fender does. Lacquered necks or oiled necks? I prefer oil and wax. For me, with my skin type and my sweat type and the how do you call it, not consistency, maybe it does, but how my sweat essentially, for my skin and sweat, like I said, oil necks work the best. Lacquer necks, it depends on the lacquer and if it's what's used to polish it, if it feels sticky, yes or no. But I don't have that problem with oil and wax necks. Oil and waxed necks. But I had a client that was completely opposite. He had no problems with lacquered necks, but as soon as I used oil on his neck, he could feel it stick. So it really depends on your preference and how your skin and the oils and sweat on your skin reacts with the finish. So it's always a bit of experimenting, and that's why I like to give clients I have when they order a guitar both a lacquered neck to try out and an oil and wax neck, and they can tell me their preference and I use that on their instrument. But for me, oil and wax. Favorite hardware? Yeah, favorite hardware. For fixed bridges, Hipshot fixed bridge. And for tuners and such, I recently switched from Spurzel to Schaller. So my bridges are usually Hipshot. Except tremolo bridges, they are also from Schaller, and the rest of the hardware is all, everything is Schaller. I really want to know how to measure the fret slots, because I see, I think Jeffrey, yeah, we have been in contact this afternoon. It was my private account, but we've been in contact. This is the question I mentioned earlier in the stream. I really want to know how to measure the fret slots, because I see a lot of frets size. There are super thick frets. There are several questions in your question. I really want to know how to measure fret slots. Well, there are tables online. So you can, for example, there are fret slot calculators. For example, Stu Mac has a good one online that give you the measurements. And I'm going to grab a, let's use this one. I'm going to grab a real neck. So there are calculators online or tables online you can find if you Google fret slot calculator or fret slot table. They will give you measurements both from the top of your fretboard, or the where your nut is going to be, so the nut line, to each fret slot. So measurement 1 goes from the nut line to the first fret, and then the second measurement goes from the nut line to the second fret, to the third fret, and so on. So as a baseline they use the nut line. They also give you the space in between each fret, and that's just to check yourself if you made the correct measurement. Don't use the measurement from fret to lay out your fretboard, because if you're making a slight mistake, let's say you're off by 0.5 millimeter each time, at the end you're way off. But when you measure from the nut line to each fret individually, if you make a 0.5 millimeter mistake on one of these frets, it's not it's not a disaster. You can when regrounding your fret, you can shift the high point of your fret just slightly, and To be honest, guys, and this goes for everyone, I used to fret about being as precise as possible, being close to 1/1000th or 100th of a millimeter. But in reality, if you cut one fret slot half a millimeter or even a millimeter wrong, no one notices, because a guitar is not in tune by its nature, and that's why you have true temperament frets, for example. They wiggle, and the difference between some of these wiggles is sometimes more than 1 millimeter. So if you have to be precise as possible, but don't worry too much if you just measure with a ruler. Don't use a tape measure, but use a good quality steel ruler, and make sure it's a good quality. Don't buy it from Temu or from AliExpress, or just buy a good ruler, and you can recognize good rulers, especially here in Europe. Oh, my battery is almost empty, I think. Where is it? I have to check my batteries, guys. Sorry. Nope. Oh, someone is messaging me on Instagram. I thought my battery was empty. Where was I? Yeah, good rulers. You can recognize, at least here in Europe, there's usually a maker's mark, and how do you call it? A regulation number or a standardization number stamped on the ruler, and that means you have a good quality ruler. Here in Europe we say if it says made in Germany, you know it's a precise ruler. So take a good ruler, take your table you've downloaded from the internet, and just make a mark with a marking knife where the fret needs to be, and that's how you measure your fret slots. If you don't want to do it by hand, get yourself a fret slotting template. Usually they have two sides with little notches, and there's a fret slotting jig that goes along with it. Just Google it. Mine is too far to get right now, but you can look up one of my videos. And each notch represents a fret, and I think there are also fretting rulers that work like a regular ruler, but instead of millimeter or inches, it has the fret lines marked out on them. You can get them in different scale sizes, and that then you don't need the table, because it says it on the ruler. I hope that answered your question about measuring your fret slots. Very quick tutorial-like explanation, and how to cut them. Yeah, you can cut them by hand. Use a straight edge, use a square to make sure your marks are all nice and square to a center line, and use a fret slotting saw or a Japanese saw to cut your slots to a certain depth. Or, like I said, use a jig or use a machine. And yeah, I would highly recommend checking out some of my earlier videos, one of my older videos, in which I go into depth on how to cut and fret slots. When it comes to the different sizes of frets, it's preference. You have to know what your preference is. If you like high frets, low frets, wide frets, narrow frets, no frets, it depends on your preference. It's something as a player you have to find out for yourself what your preferences are. And when it comes to cutting your fret slots, there is hardly any difference when it comes to the tang, so the tiny edge underneath your fret to go in the fret slot. They are quite similar. Hopefully that answered your question without giving you a full tutorial. How to measure those fret sizes? There's a table. Again, there are tables online for for example, Dunlop, and the type of fret has certain measurements. And if you're not sure, if you have a piece of fret wire laying around and you're not quite sure what size it is or what type it is, calipers. Just use calipers to measure the width, the height, the tang and such, and then you can figure out using a table what type of fret wire it is. Other questions? Yo, Black Limba gang, yeah, Black Limba, polishing one right now. I like ash. Hi Francisco, nice to see you in chat. Have you ever thought about making a shaped guitar like an Explorer or Flying V and adding your own style? Well, I think you haven't followed along with my latest series, the one I'm working on right now. But my template is right here. Yeah, it's not quite an Explorer, but my current design is heavily based on, of course, a Gibson Firebird. So yeah, I'm making shaped guitars, and this is going to be my Phoenix Rising. And yeah, if you haven't seen the video series I'm currently running, I can highly recommend it. Yeah, I'm putting a lot of effort in that series, especially the prologue. Has anyone seen the prologue of the current video series? I'm kind of proud about that video series, about that video. Let's see. And how to cut? Should it cut the same as the fretboard radius or flat? No, you cut your fret slots before radiusing it. It's much easier. You can do both, but it's easier to cut your fret slots while the fretboard is still nice and flat. You can see this is still nice and flat, and the fret slots are in. The only thing you have to keep in mind that you cut your fret slots deep enough to allow for the radius. And that comes with experience. It's better to cut them slightly deeper than too shallow. I like to cut them about 4 millimeters deep in a 6.5 millimeter thick fretboard, so 1/4 of an inch. I cut them well over 1/8 of an inch, so just over 3 millimeters deep, so just past halfway point. That usually is enough. Oiled all day long, yeah. Little Wolf, oiled next for the win. How are you finding the blades on the Proxon FET? Have you changed? No, I don't have to change them often. And that's because I'm using the most expensive one. I can't recall. For the tiny blades of the Proxon FET, oh, come here. There are two kinds of these tiny blades. They're the 50 millimeters by 0.5 millimeter curve, and there are two blades. You have the HSS, so the hardened steel one, and you have the tungsten carbide one. You can already guess which one lasts longer. I'm using the tungsten carbide one, and I had one that shattered. I don't know when, I don't know why, but when I wanted to use it, I saw there was a piece missing from the blade. But this is, after that I bought a new one and I've never changed it. And it's still razor sharp, and that's because it's only used to cut fretboards. And if you're gentle with it and don't overheat it and don't stress it too much, I think it will last forever. One thing I've noticed with blades, if you cut nice wood with it and you don't force them, they stay sharp for a very long time. So yeah, my advice is, if you're going to use the Proxon to cut your fret slots, buy the tungsten carbide blade and you're set. All guitars are slightly out of tune. Yep, all guitars are out of tune. And if not the guitar is out of tune, but the player wants to has a very firm grip, it will squeeze all its notes sharp anyway. Especially if he likes to play with a high action, he will be out of tune. Prologue was fantastic. Thank you very much, Little Wolf. Thank you very much. Quarter Circle BK, thank you very much. Awesome. Guitars should both tell their own story and the story of the builder. Yeah, it's all about the story, man. Yeah. I can't agree with you more, Quarterback Circle BK. A Quarter Circle. It's a confusing name. Sorry. But I agree. The Audio Phoenix. Hey, Phoenix. Maybe I wasn't paying proper attention, but in the Building 2 Guitars video I didn't see you using extra neck reinforcement. Why not? And also, would you recommend carbon, fiber or steel rods? No to both. And you didn't miss anything. You were paying proper attention. I don't use any carbon rods anymore. I think I built 2-3 guitars with carbon rods and I didn't like it. And since I switched to a multi-laminated neck, so my necks are 9-piece laminates, perfectly or as close as perfect as I can get it, quarter sawn timber, and they're stable enough. They don't require any reinforcements. And the downside I experienced with reinforcement rods in the neck is that when you're trying to set up the neck, there's such a delay in tensioning the truss rod and when the neck actually starts to move. And when not done properly, you keep missing the mark, so to say. So you think you're there, you're measuring, and the next day it's gone too far, and then you go back a little, and the neck won't stretch out, and then you wait a day, and it's gone too far. In my experience, when I used stiffening rods, the neck was too stiff to properly set up, and then I started, like I said, using multi-laminated necks, and I didn't notice any problems with flexibility or the need of stiffening rods. So yeah, I personally don't use stiffening rods in my necks because I don't see the point, to be honest. Hope that answered your question. I believe the fret side will affect the playability. Fret size and scale length are two different things. Scale length affects, to some extent, tonality, playability, in the way of string tension. A shorter scale length has, if I say this correctly from the top of my hand, less string tension than a longer scale length. And the height of the frets is whether or not your player likes to feel the fretboard, for example, when he's playing, or he doesn't, he only wants to feel the tips of the frets. For example, a lot of shredders like to have high jumbo frets because they only like to touch the strings very lightly against the frets, and people who tend to play more strumming style or chords or rhythm guitar usually tend to like some lower frets because they can feel the fretboard and they can have a firmer grip without detuning the strings when playing. So it's fret height is personal preference. Same goes with scale length, but they're two different things, Jeffrey. And this is something that's often overlooked when people start or want to get into guitar building. There's so much knowledge and technical knowledge required for the choices you have to make for your guitar if you're not doing an exact replica or an exact copy of an existing model. There's a lot of stuff you have to get into, read about, buy old-fashioned books, or look online for resources that tell you all about the technical aspects of the guitar. And I know I've worked with even professional guitarists who didn't know these things. They just thought a guitar was a guitar. It has 24 or 21 frets and 6 or 7 strings. and that's it. They also didn't know the intricacies and design choices you have to make when building a guitar. And that's something I think a good builder and a good luthier should advise a customer about, and should be able to advise a customer about when he's ordering a custom guitar. Skill doesn't really matter when it comes to playability. Yeah, to some extent. It has to do with string tension, but neck profile usually is more noticeable for the majority of players. I'm fairly new to your content. Do you have done? Oh, if I ever have wound my own pickups? Short answer: no. It's something one of those things I like to try, but in my opinion, you can only do so much very well, and winding pickups is an art. It's an art on itself. And if I'm the kind of person that if I'm going to do something, I want to do it well, very well or near perfect. And there are a lot of intricacies that go into guitar building, which I'm still learning. And there's as many intricacies in winding pickups, and I don't have the mind space and the time to do both to perfection. So it's something I think I like to try someday in a workshop or during a course, just to have done it a couple of times, but it's not something I would get into. And the second part of this answer is that I really like active pickups in my guitars. I really like some EMG pickups, but mostly Fishman pickups because of the versatility and all the benefits. I believe active pickups have over regular pickups, and getting into making my own active pickups, no, at the moment, no, thank you. So no, I haven't wound my own pickups yet. All right. Oh, the audio feed is you're going to attend a course at Crimson. Well, I did one too a long time ago. Yeah. Have a nice time. During the Western Patera tribute build, we could feel the tension during finishing. Any plans for another spray finish? Yeah, Rod McKay. Yeah, this question was asked earlier during the stream, but yeah, I'm planning on doing more lacquered finishes. I intend to lacquer this guitar as well, or do a lacquer-based finish. At least that's what I have planned for now. This can change, but yeah, I will certainly do more lacquer finishes on future guitars. And yeah, the Pantera build was quite stressful when it came to the finish, and that's because of my perfectionism. The hardest part for me is finishing a guitar or working with a lacquer-based finish, because I want every coat to go on perfect and to give that mirror shine, that mirror-like finish straight from the can. But I have to learn that that's impossible, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to put on as much layers in the least amount of time as possible, and then the tiny specks of dust and the tiny nips will polish out. And that's something I have to learn, that you can't apply every coat of finish like it's the last mirror shine finish you're going to put on that guitar. It all comes down to polishing, and that's something I have to learn, and I intend to keep practicing and keep doing more here on the channel. Thank you, Papa. I'm glad you guys like it, and there are questions coming, and I'm loving it. Almost 50 minutes ago I said, well, let's go for half an hour and see where we go, but the questions are keep on coming in. I'm loving it, and thank you guys very much. I'm going to do this more often and more structured, and maybe have something to show, or maybe that I'm doing stuff instead of just sitting here. I always like to bring value to you guys, to add value to your time. But glad to know you're loving this. Loving the longer format videos, by the way. Yeah, me too. I love making them, although it's much more work. I love making them, and I love that I'm able to show you guys more and more in depth, and that I don't have to use time lapses as much. It's more laid back format. I think it suits the channel more. Yeah, you might be the only one that prefers finishing Lonely Wolf. I have a love-hate relationship with it. Yeah, maybe my wife could learn how to wind pickups, but I think she has other hobbies. I don't think she has time. Hi Patrick, you're welcome. Thank you for joining the stream. I like wax. Yeah, me too. I put wax on everything. I also make presents for my family, friends, and just presents made from offcuts, tiny scraps, bottle openers, you name it. And people can always tell that I made them a present because they can smell the wax when I'm entering their house. Patrick, you're welcome. Glad you were able to refret your dream guitar by watching one of my tutorials. It's always great to learn that you provide value to someone, that you help someone. Jeffrey, how long does it take me to build a guitar? If I'm not filming YouTube videos, because when I'm filming YouTube videos, it takes me 3-4 times as long because I'm more busy with the camera and lighting and such than I am actually building. And I'm talking to the camera, explaining things. So that takes a long time. But I always mention that I'm working on a guitar somewhere in between 100 and 150 hours, depending on the specification and the intricacies of the guitar. A simple Sonia model, I have all the templates for. I think I can knock it out within 100 hours. A Nessa a bit longer because of the inlaid top. When you add a Floyd Rose, it will add a couple of hours. So I always estimate it to be around 150 hours when I'm not doing YouTube videos. And do I use the wood straight away? Most of the time I don't. I leave it in storage for a couple of weeks, at least months, sometimes, because I buy my wood in bulk. But the supplier I'm getting my timber from, or lumber, wood, 3 words, same thing, I guess, has it pre-dried and ready to use, because he has specialized wood that's used for instrument building. So it's pre-dried, pre-conditioned, and you should be able to use it straight away. Burn finishes are cool, yeah, but don't burn your shop. Will there be a Phoenix bass? I'm thinking about doing another bass build somewhere in the future. So maybe a Phoenix bass. It depends. If someone orders a Phoenix bass, of course, I will be happy to build them a Phoenix bass. As a standalone stock bass, maybe I have to do some research on saleability, to be honest, because I really start selling my guitars soon. Yeah, Kirsten KM K. Marie Vermeulen. Her time goes into making me coffee. Yeah, that's correct. And bringing me a Coke and water. I want to try a ceruse finish. I'm not sure, I've never heard the term before. I think, cool, I'll take a coffee. Yeah, you're welcome, Little Wolf. If you're in the Netherlands, if you're near me one day, come and grab yourself a coffee. Or come and get a coffee. I will gladly have my wife make one for you. Strong black, no sugar. Tiny bit of sugar, but strong black. As black as it comes. Seko, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. International shipping is available, that's no problem, but I'm not going to mention any prices online or in a stream. My offers are always highly personal. Of course, my stock guitars have a fixed price, but I think I really want to get in personal contact with you to talk about guitars and prices, so I can give you the best advice and make you a nice offer. So if you're interested, and this goes for anyone, if you're interested in learning more about prices of my stock guitars or my custom guitars, just drop me an email, and within a couple of days I get back in touch with you, and we can talk via email, via a stream or a virtual meeting like this one, or meet in person if that's possible. That's always my preference, but I know it's not always possible. But yeah, I like to get in touch with you personally to talk about guitars, prices, and what you're looking for. So yeah, if you're interested, drop me an email and we'll get in touch. Oh yeah. Quarter circle BK. I know what you mean. It's the, for example, red and black in ash, and where the grain used to be, it's red, and the rest of the guitar is the high points on the guitar are black and lower is red. I know. I didn't know it was called like that, or I couldn't remember. That's more likely, but I know what you mean. Jeffrey, yeah, I sent if there are no restrictions on the country you live in, and I can find a shipping company that ships a guitar to your country, it shouldn't be a problem. From my part, yeah, that's nice of being in the Netherlands. We ship to anyone, anywhere. So there's more than likely someone that can help me ship a guitar wherever I need it, unless there are restrictions because of an embargo or something. But otherwise, it shouldn't be a problem. But again, if you're interested in and you want me to look into it more in depth, yeah, get in touch via a mail, and there's a email address on my website or underneath any of my videos. It's daniel@unquendor-guitars.nl, and I'll we get in touch. Well, Christopher, thank you very much. I'm glad to hear you like my videos, and yeah, next Monday we'll have a premiere, so I'll be there in chat, chatting along with you guys when the next Phoenix Rising video airs. Oh, Jeff, you're starting to love my channel. Well, thank you very much. There's a lot of content. I don't know exactly how many, but I've made a lot of videos over the years. And there's more to come. I'm really starting to enjoy myself more and more here in the workshop, and yeah, there is a lot going on behind the scenes. So unfortunately, I don't always have as much time as I would like to spend in the workshop working on guitars, because yeah, for example, setting up this live stream with running cables, getting new internet, running cables underneath my house, through my garden, up in the shed, and getting everything sorted with the software iPad, the overlays and such. It took me over a week of constant working on setting up this live stream, and now it's set up. I'm glad, because now I can just fire up the iPad, plug in an HDMI cable into my camera, and I'm set to stream. So it was not wasted time, but it took time from me to be outside of the workshop. But luckily, I can now spend more time in the shop. So yeah, I'm glad to be making videos again. Let's see. Will you ever do a strap making tutorial? I think I did. I think I already made a strap making tutorial. Yeah, if it was really a strap making tutorial, or did I made a video on how I do it? For me, those are two different things. I sometimes not sure. Sometimes I'm not sure. Correct English. If I'm making tutorials or if I'm showing people how I do it, because that's something I like more. I rather think of me showing how I do it, and people can use my process as it is, or learn from it, or take what they need from it and adapt into their own style, instead of this is how you should do it, like a lot of tutorials on YouTube are. You are doing it wrong because this is the way you should do it. And I am a firm believer of there's a method suitable for anyone, and everyone has their own method, and there's no right or wrong way. It's the end result that counts. And yeah, so yeah, I'm not really sure if I'm making tutorials. I know one, how to solder guitar parts. It's one of my most successful videos at the moment, and that's really a tutorial on how you not should solder guitar parts, but how I recommend you should do it. And those are two different things for my part. So have I ever made a leatherworking tutorial? I don't think so. I think I did a video of me showing my process. Long answer. And now you guys might understand now we're doing a live stream that I really tend to over-explain myself, and why it can take a while for me to get a take suitable for a video. Oh, yeah, Rod McKay, I didn't see your reply, but yeah, there's one on the channel, and yeah, made the answer way too long. That's one way to stretch a live stream. Would you have any advice for someone who might want to start making content alongside their guitar building? Oh, that's a very good question. On one part, just do it. Just get a camera, or better still, these days, grab your phone, grab yourself a little tripod, for example, something like this. Clamp in your phone, put it on your bench, and start recording. You can do videos like I do, talk about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and bring some value to your viewers that way. and enjoy making content that way, like I'm doing, or just show, don't tell, just shoot what you're doing, like an ASMR kind of video. T-Chick is one very successful guitar builder here on YouTube that hardly ever talks in his videos. He just shows him working on his guitars, usually close-ups, really cinematic shots of him working on a guitar. And yeah, you just have to come up with your own style and what you like to do. And for starting out, just do it, experiment. You don't have any members, followers, subscribers yet, so that's a great time to start experimenting. Just make videos. You don't even have to put them out on public yet if you're not sure. Just start making videos, upload them as private to YouTube, and only share them with people you know or you care about their opinion, for example. And otherwise, just start. It's hard. It's hard to build a channel. I'm very fortunately how my channel is doing when it comes to the community we've built. And I'm very, I've mentioned this earlier, but I'm very proud and very happy with the community we've got going on this channel. But it's a competitive niche we're in. There are gazillion guitar builders making guitar building content, and but yeah, it's fun to do, and if just start. And when you're just starting, you have time to experiment and find your own voice in your content, in your videos. So hopefully that answered your question to somewhat. It's a topic I would love to maybe spend an entire stream on and make it a dedicated content stream. You're welcome, Steve. I'm glad to hear you're learning something new every time. Cheers, Rod. I'll have a look. Phoenix Rising build series. Want to thank you. You're welcome, Daniel, I presume. Yeah, I didn't realize how much work goes into it. Yeah, making straps takes a while. Doing it by hand. Yeah, Little Wolf. A guitar strap is just a white belt. Same thing. I'm aspiring, I'm aspiring and watching his bits. Alright. Yes, Zico W, thank you very much. Yeah, I wish I had some more subscribers and some more views on my videos, and the only way you guys can support me and help me achieve that goal is by commenting and liking the videos and watching them all the way through. The YouTube algorithm shows videos that have high interaction rate, so a lot of likes, a lot of comments, and a lot of watch time to other people with similar interest as my audience. So yeah, the only way to help and grow a channel is by word of mouth. So share my videos to other people that might be interested in my content, and on every video watch it all the way through, or just leave it running when you're not watching, go to sleep and let it run for the entirety, and just hit that like button and do give a comment. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's Little Wolf. It's just giving it a name, tutorial, how it's done, or sometimes I don't think it's a bit of imposter syndrome. Sometimes I don't think I'm qualified enough to do tutorials. Robert Tucker, welcome to the stream. Yeah, you're not too late. question was, I haven't answered this question in a while. When and what and how did I get into guitar building? Well, I started building my first guitar in 2017, so not that long ago, I hope. And it used to be a childhood dream of mine. When I was a little kid, and I've told this story a couple of times already, when I was a little kid, I found a book in the local library of simple musical instruments for children. And it was from a toilet roll and rice shaker, just top of the ends, and you had a shaker, to simple drums. And there was also a drawing and an instruction for a single-stringed electric guitar with just a slat of wood, a single string, a magnet with some copper wire twisted around it. And that was a very crude, simple one-string guitar, like a T-box bass kind of electric guitar for kids. And I took that book, went across town to the music shop, the electronics shop, and anyone who could help me, but no one could really help me back then in what I wanted to make and what the book described. And there was no internet, and so that dream of making that first single string guitar got nowhere. But I soon started drawing regular guitars, started designing guitars, and with my dream to one day maybe make a guitar. But again, no internet, and in an area where no one was really knew that guitar making could be a job, or you could get an education on making guitars. So that dream faded, and I started a real job until I was one day playing one of my guitars when I noticed it detuning. Tune it again, and it straight away it detuned again. And when I looked down, I saw that the neck of my SG those days was coming from loose from the body. It broke the neck joint, separated from the body. And then I thought, well, I now have my own house. There was a little workshop in the back of my garden. I had some tools. I thought, well, this guitar is destroyed anyway. Let's try and fix it. So I went onto the internet, found a site called YouTube, found Ben Crow and other YouTubers explaining how to repair guitars, and I started watching video after video, just like you guys. And I took that guitar into the shed, I repaired it, it became playable again, and that's when that little spark that was still inside of me ignited, and I thought, yeah, I have a bit of money, I have a workshop, let's try. And finally, after 30 years or more, let's make that guitar. And that's what I did. I bought some tools, watched some more videos, went to a wood supplier, got myself some wood, and made my first guitar. And after that, while you guys are here, you all know how this story goes. You're sold, and you start building your second, your third, your fourth. You try to sell a couple. You get friends involved. One of them asks you to build them a custom guitar and document the process. And well, the easiest way for me to document the process was uploading it to YouTube. And here we are today, live streaming across the world to all my wonderful subscribers. So that's the story of my guitar building and YouTube journey. Yeah, thank you. Get into building. Yeah, Lone Wolf, you really have to enjoy making content. Like I said a couple of times in this stream already, these days more time is spent on making content. So setting up the shots, getting familiar with camera equipment, with audio equipment, editing videos, editing and shooting thumbnails. It's a one-man show, so I do everything myself these days, and you really have to enjoy it, otherwise it's a hassle and you get burned out real quick. No, not much toxicity going on, luckily, in the luthiers community. What thickness veneer is best between the top wood and body to form an outline on it. Personal preference. It can be as thin as half a millimeter to hundredths of a millimeter, maybe very 2/10 of a millimeter. I intended to say. So you can go very thin for a very subtle line, but you can go as thick as 10 millimeters, 12. You can make like a cake. You can have 3 equal layers. It's personal preference. Yeah, if you take a look at, I think it's Barlow Guitars on Instagram or maybe even YouTube. He does a lot of multi-layered guitar bodies. It looks great. And yeah, as far as I can't think of any reason you shouldn't go over a certain thickness. You can do whatever you like. What you think looks great, go for it. Yeah. If you get into gaming channels, Little Wolf, if you're going to do gaming content, yeah, prepare yourself and turn off notifications of any comments. Don't read the comments. That's the advice any content creator will give you. Don't read your comments. And I have to be honest, I really enjoy every day I take a couple of minutes to go through the comments. I don't always have time to reply to them all, but I go through them every day. Oh, thank you, Barry. I will make a certificate qualified to do tutorials. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, all right. Hi, Terje. Hi. Hello from the Netherlands to you too. Welcome to the stream. Oh. Yeah, I've built a bass. I think there's even a building series on my channel of me building the my one and only bass, the Tulkas bass. There should be a video series, I think, on me building a bass guitar, and it came up earlier in the stream already, and I definitely have plans of building another bass, especially if someone orders a bass, and otherwise it has to be a bass for myself, I think, because I have plenty of wall hangers already. So yeah, maybe I'll do a bass in the, or let's put it another way, it's highly likely that I will do a bass in the future. What was my most challenging guitar build? Ooh. Besides the first one. Yeah, there's challenges in every build. Every build is a little different. For example, coming up, let's say for example the tribute, the Westone Pantera tribute, getting the rounded body shape and figuring out how to round the different pockets. For example, the pickup pockets needed to be nice and straight and perpendicular to the center line and all such things, so they had to go straight down on a curved surface. So that was quite tricky to figure out the order in which to route things, especially on the back, which was of course concave, hollow, so to say, where the pocket for the springs for the Floyd Rose tremolo had to be straight down, but the control cavity had to be curved in the should have the same curvature as the body has, partly of the front where the pots went through the front of the body, and the back, so the back plate had to be curved to flow nicely with the rest of the body. So routing the body and all the cavities for the tribute, the Pantera tribute guitar, was very challenging. And on the other hand, for example, the Celtic Sonia guitar, doing the intricate Celtic knot design alongside the fretboard edges in the extremely hard ebony, is something I still regret doing to some extent, and I think that's the only guitar that is ever going to get that design done by hand. So that's one-off unique guitar, and unless someone pays me handsomely to do it again, I will never do it again. So very challenging builds. I don't think I have read the Spellslinger series. So I can't answer your question fully, because I can't recall if I did, and I don't think I did. At least not in English. I read some fantasy books in English. For example, Brandon Sanderson, I read everything in English. And some other writers I read fully in English, but most of it will be, of course, in Dutch. And sometimes someone asks me if I've read a series, and I say, well, no, I don't think so. And then it turns out I've read the Dutch series, and then names were different and such. So sometimes hard to say, but I don't think I've read Spellslinger. Spellsinger. Wait a second. Maybe I have, but it's called differently here. Maybe I have. Have you ever made a 5-string bass? No. No, I haven't. Maybe I will. The whole bass thing. Maybe I will. Not sure if I've been asked this already, but have you thought about doing a multi-scale? Yes, many times. And every time my conclusion used to be the same. I don't see the point in doing a multi-scale. And if someone orders a guitar with multi-scale, I'm happy to do it. I know how to do it. That shouldn't be a problem. But the guitars I'm building right now are or for myself, or to go on sale for stock. And I'm going to be very honest, and to have a better chance of selling my guitars, they have to be as standard as possible to have the biggest possible audience. And yeah, when you're going into multi-scale instruments, you narrow your audience by quite a bit. And up until recently, I didn't see the point of multi-scales as much, but recently I set up a Stromberg Jazz, headless, multi-scale, everything I don't like about guitars, that guitar had, and it changed my opinion drastically. You have to be honest with yourself. Sometimes something comes along that has to change, that makes you change your opinion, and that changed my opinion both on headless and on multi-scale. And yeah, it's really something I like to try in the future, if I have a order or a need for it. For example, if I'm running out of content, then maybe I think, well, let's try something new and let's do a multi-scale headless ergonomic guitar, for example. But until now I haven't. And like I said, up until recently, I didn't see the point in it. I thought it was one of those gimmicks that would pass over like a true temperament fret system. Derek, any issues? Using spalted maple for body top. No, not really. But like you said, does it need to be stabilized? Sometimes. I've used spalted tops that applying good hardening oil and hard wax oil to it were enough to stabilize it, because it wasn't as soft and porous as spalted maple can be. But if it's really soft and really porous, yeah, treat it, stabilize it. I'm not an expert on stabilizing wood, so go ask maybe on a forum, or maybe a local business can advise you on what to use. I suggest, if you have a spalted maple top, go to a supplier of wood finishes and wood treatments and ask for their advice. I think they are most likely the ones that can help you. Our multi-skill I just answered. Alan Dean, Forster Books. Yeah, perhaps. You're still alive. Yes, yeah, I'm still going. I'm well an hour over, but the questions are keep coming in, and yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, guys, I'm going to stream for maximum half an hour. And like I said, I wanted to spend some time with my wife, but that time is again spent in the workshop, and maybe I can catch her right before she goes to bed. But I don't mind. I really like streaming, and I really like chatting with you guys, and I'm sure she doesn't mind as long as I don't do this every night. Yeah, Strombergs are lovely. Yeah, this guitar was new, brand new, right out of the store, but the setup and the fret job on it was not what it's supposed to be. I think it was a Monday morning production guitar, because I had to redo the entire fret job and setup. It was quite a bit of work, but the customer was happy in the end, and that's all that counts. But the overall design and playability was great, and for a traveler guitar, if you're ever looking for a small guitar that you can easily travel with, I would recommend Stromberg. Until I have my own model, of course. Yeah, Vasilis, it's starting to be a stress test. Let's see how long we can stream before everything goes black and stops. And I have to check, that's something I have to check, how much battery life there's still in my microphone pack. And it used to be clipped to the side, but that was causing the echo in the beginning of the stream. It's now on the back of the camera. Let's check. Ooh, yeah. I'm not sure if we can make it another half an hour, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll answer a couple of questions more, and then we'll call it, and we have something to talk about in the next stream. Speaking of which, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this weekly or bi-weekly. We'll see, but keep an eye. I make sure to notify you all way in advance. This was a bit of a last minute thing, but I'll plan it and notify you all well in advance for the next stream. And maybe you see me pop up on occasion, just randomly when I'm, for example, cutting inlays. It takes too long to film everything, and maybe I'll just fire up a stream and start streaming now and then. But these kinds of live chats, I will announce them way in advance. And if you have any preference on the frequency or time, yeah, let me know, please. Yeah, cactus juice berry. I've seen that also on previous videos of mine where we were trying to stain the orange strips, but I had to look it up because it's not something I'm familiar with, and I think it's not something you can get here in the Netherlands, or at least not commonly. It's not commonly used. I wish you all the luck with using spalted maple for a neck, Robert. Yeah, if you do, make sure it's stable enough. And if in doubt, although I just held a whole talk against stiffening rods, when using spalted maple, I will advise to use stiffening rods, just in case. Thanks, Barry. Thanks for the compliment about the stream. And hopefully my English isn't too bad, too terrible to listen at. Listen to? Listen. Instru, hello. Welcome to the stream. Will you give epoxy resin a try? Yeah. I do think so, maybe even sooner than later. I have a batch of epoxy resin laying in storage for quite some time now. I've never used it, but the current guitar build, the Phoenix guitar build, has some designs that I'm going to try to do differently, but I might have to resolve in using resin. So maybe sooner than later, but yeah, I'm thinking about doing some intricate inlay work or intricate design work on either the body or the neck in the future that might be suitable to use resin. It's something, it's one of those things. We have a million of things we like to try on a guitar or on a project one day, but time is a thing. And then, yeah, I mentioned this earlier in this stream. Sometimes I'm lucky to spend a couple of hours in the shed that are not taken up by behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, hopefully pretty soon most of the behind the scenes stuff is dealt with and I'm ready to fully commit to building guitars, besides of course my day job, to making content, building guitars and do the occasional live stream. My English is 1,000 times better than your Dutch, Barry. Yeah, most likely. Most likely my English is better than the Dutch of most people, but yeah, it's something I'm sometimes conscious about. And the thing is, I can read, write and understand English perfectly. Well, writing with a little help, but reading and understanding English fluently. But when you have to speak English and doing it live, sometimes vocabulary is one thing and grammar. And I always catch myself right after I'm saying it wrong. And I say, I know it's incorrect. And yeah, so doing these streams will certainly help me get more fluent in English and hopefully broaden my vocabulary and make less grammar mistakes. Steve, Steve Cumberledge, yeah, I've already mentioned this earlier, but I will happily answer it again. I don't own a laser cutter yet, but I'm really thinking about getting one to indeed make and hopefully sell templates and jigs. I get asked almost weekly for templates, for jigs, and I think that will help me to grow my channel and Quendo guitars if I invest in a good quality laser cutter. But yeah, it's a big step. It's a big investment to purchase a good quality laser cutter. So yeah, I'm thinking about it. I don't own one yet, but every day I'm thinking more and more in getting one. So if anyone happens to know a company that supplies laser cutters and wants me to do a review about them, you know where to find me. Yeah, little wolf. That's what I just did, but I'm not someone to email or call random companies for stuff. I don't think it's not done, or for a better word for it. If someone wants to do business with me, I'm more than happy to get into a conversation, but I'm not one to go around with every supplier, even my regular suppliers who know that I have a YouTube channel. I just buy my stuff. I'm not, unless they offer me an affiliation, I just buy my stuff. To be honest, I'm not going to beg for discounts or beg for stuff. Yeah, it's not in my nature. Yeah, Rod McKay, I'm thinking about the X tool, the what is it, the P2, the CO2 laser cutter, the biggest one they have. But it's quite an investment. It's going over 6,000 euros, almost 7. So it's a big investment, and if I do that investment, to be honest with you, it's money I can't put into this channel, and I can't put into building guitars. And that's a choice I have to make. Am I willing to take that risk? I know it's part of doing business, but it's a risk. If it might end what you, or might hinder what you love to do best. So it's something I have to think about a while longer. Yeah, I know of the saying. We have that same saying here. If you don't ask, but yeah, like I said, it's not in my nature. But I have to learn to do stuff like that, or to be more open or upfront with my channel and leverage a bit more, maybe. But yeah, that's hard for me. Yeah, it would take up half the shed. Yeah, maybe it fits down here underneath the bench. It's an area you guys often don't see, but there's a area here just up against the bench that I could use to set my laser cutter. But I also have some room left in the office where I can easily use my computer with the laser cutter. There, so yeah, I have a space reserved already, but yeah, I have to see. I do get offers from overseas companies, but usually when they try to send me stuff, they realize I'm in the Netherlands and in the European Union, and our regulations don't allow for their machines. So I do get offers now and then, but I only take up offers of companies I believe in and I want to share with you guys, if that makes sense. I could get a overseas Eastern laser cutter, no problem, but it wouldn't be something I would endorse and I would recommend to you guys. So all the tools I have here in my shop I can vouch for and I can recommend to you guys, and if not, I am free to say that it's a piece of, you shouldn't buy it. So that's the other side. I like to be, my integrity means something to me. Oh, there's something flying in the air. Mosquitoes. So real quick, another quick questions. Yeah, be bold. Yeah, I think I just answered that question. I see it, Little Wolf. Yeah, I do get emails to promote stuff. And I'm working with some companies. For example, the thermal wood is a good example. They asked me if they could send me a sample for me to show off in a video or to give it a try and let them know what I thought about their product. And they didn't really expect me to do a video about it, but I said, well, I'll do a video about it, no problem. And oh, liquid. I will do a video about it, no problem. But in my own style, and I give my honest opinion. And a lot of companies do prescribe a certain format of video. It has to be unboxed within the first couple of minutes. You have to react like this. They have a whole script you need to follow, and that's not my style. So I'm not going to do those kinds of videos. I'm not going to begin an unboxing channel. And like I said, the quality. I have to vouch for the quality, and I have to really believe in a product to showcase it on my channel. But yeah, I do get sometimes, to be honest, strange emails of companies that sell sunglasses, or the weirdest one I got was fitness clothing for ladies, and they thought my channel was suitable to represent their company, and it was skinny jeans and skinny fitness clothing for women. So yeah. How much time do you spend building versus playing guitar? I hardly play guitar. If I have spare time, I'm either in the shop or these days I'm out hiking. After my crash last year, all the spare time I do have, I go hiking. I go for a walk around town if I have less than an hour, and anything more I'll either walk for a couple of miles across the river. There's a nature reserve, so I can walk into there for a couple of hours, or I get in my car, drive to a forest, or go away for a weekend and go hiking. So I hardly play guitar anymore, and that's also because there are all kinds of lovely guitars in my showroom, and I'm afraid that when I start playing them, they'll be second hand before I sell them. So I like to keep them nice and new. Yes, be bold. Just stick it in the bedroom. Yeah, I can stick the laser cutter in the bedroom. Yeah, we have one spare still. How much? Yeah, yes, be bold. Listen to your wife. I should do that more often. I should listen to my wife more often. I should do that. All in good time. Eventually your channel will grow and be one of the best. Thank you, Zef. Thank you for the confidence and for the support. Yeah, no scripted videos, no. You will never see me halfway during a video that I need to cook a microwave dinner, or if I or that I have to go and get a package full of vegetables. It's not something I'll do, or tell you guys to use a certain internet service to protect your data. It isn't guitar related. It shouldn't be on a guitar building channel, no matter how much. Can I really say this? Yeah, I'm fairly sure I can say this, that's something that won't happen on my channel. Maybe a coffee brand, because coffee is a big part of this channel already, but no vegetables, no microwave dinners, no insurances, or VPN services. Yeah, Shaper Origin, that's another tool. I forgot about that. The question about wishlist tools. Shaper is certainly on that wish list. Yeah, and it's a close call, I think, between a laser cutter and a shaper, because there is an overlap. There are things you can do with a shaper that you can do on a laser cutter. For example, intricate inlays and such. You can use a shaper perfectly well for that, as well as with a laser cutter. But the other sides of the spectrum, they're quite different. So get both. One day when I have a huge channel and I sell 1 or 2 guitars, maybe if I sell 1 guitar I can get myself a shaper. No, Tireman, you can't beat time in nature. If it's walking or just sitting there, last weekend we rented a boat, and in the same nature reserve just across the river we rented a little boat, and we just went through the waters. We're in the Netherlands, so there's water everywhere, and we spent just a couple of hours cruising around through nature. Lovely. Yeah, sponsored by Squarespace, but Squarespace, well, this is a grey area because I use Squarespace, so that would make sense. But I think I would do it a bit differently if they would sponsor my upkeep fees. And then I can mention that when you visit my website, it's powered by Squarespace, for example. But don't do 1 minute or 1.5 minute ads every video. Yeah, again, Barry, a cheaper laser. I've also thought about that, but what I found on cheaper laser cutters is the cheaper you get, you get what you pay for, most likely, and that's something I can't endorse, and it's not something I'm willing to spend money on. Buy cheap, buy twice. And maybe companies come knocking, maybe, or it might scare them off. Oh, he already has a laser cutter. I don't know. I have to look into it. It might be a good idea, but yeah, I have to look into it. Yeah, 12 more minutes. Come on. Can you legally wild camp in the Netherlands? No, you can't. I know, for example, in Scotland, wild camping is not permitted everywhere. You either have to have a permit, or officially you need, I believe, permission of the landowner. Even that in the Netherlands isn't the case. I know, for example, Norway, you can wild camp everywhere, unless it's within, I thought, 150 or 200 meters from a building. An occupied building, if I'm correct. But in the Netherlands you can't. You have to go to a campsite. There are some what they call nature campsites, so there are no facilities. It's just a campsite where you can camp. Usually there's one guy in charge, and you have to register that you're spending the night on that campsite. or otherwise just regular campsites. Highly, of course, Dutch, highly organized, and no wild camping. Sometimes even if you have permission from the land owner, sometimes you're allowed, but usually even land in forested areas, for example, are usually on lease, and then the farmer, for example, isn't the actual owner, and you can still be sent away by the actual owner. So no, in wild camping, legally it's not allowed. Yeah, Steve, you would think so, but yeah, I think for the very brands that I would be interested in collaborating with, I think my channel is still regarded as too small. What I found that usually you have to be over 25,000 subscribers to be of some interest to bigger companies, not only subscriber count but my viewers rate. To be honest, I have almost 17,500 subscribers right now, but my views are not even 10% of my subscriber count. So I have to raise both my subscriber count and the number of views per video and average watch time, because most of the I have a perception, because I can't say I'm sure, I have the perception that a lot of marketing is analytics driven, and the analytics aren't always a good representation of the content you make and the value you provide. There are plenty of very good YouTube channels out there that are just stuck in the algorithm that doesn't get picked up and promoted to a wider, broader audience by the algorithm, despite having great, valuable content. I'm going to answer Robert's question and Little Wolf's question. Well, bike packing, go ahead, Little Wolf. There are a great variety of different campsites, from very family friendly. So that's a tough word to say, family friendly. With all kinds of entertainment and facilities to, like I said, just a bare campsites in the middle of the wood where you can just pitch up your tent and stay for the night, both with a bike or hiking or sometimes with a car, but not always, and everything in between. It just takes a bit of planning, but if you're setting out your route, there are plenty of campsites in the Netherlands. It's you can't take a step without breaking your neck over a campsite. So there's plenty of campsites, and there's one for everyone. So yeah, I can recommend coming here for a cycle holiday or a biking holiday. Robert had also wood prices. I don't know in comparison to other countries. I think they're a bit steeper here because we don't have much wood supply natively, and most of our forests are burned as biofuel. Even big, nice trees that are taken down are shredded and burned as biofuel. It's such a waste. But yeah, even maple is a rarity here. You can't go into a let's call it the American way, a Home Depot or something, and you won't find any maple there. There's barely any hardwood there. Maybe a mahogany variety to make window sills and such from, but that's all there is. It's all pine and spruce, and there are only a handful, I think 5 or 6 suppliers of fine, what we call fine wood, like Massave, where I get my wood from. There's only a couple, and it's increasing, because when I started a couple of years ago, there were only 3 in the entire country where you could get wood suitable for making guitars. And to give you an example, I mentioned this in one of my videos, and I don't know how this compares to other countries, but for a regular ebony fretboard blank, it runs you somewhere in between the 25 and 40 euros, depending on the quality, but usually around 30 euros, so just over $35 for a ebony fretboard. Bodies ranging from between 70, so a body blank ranging from, where I get them, from 70 to 120 euros, so around $100 something for a black limba or mahogany body blank. Neck blanks, it highly depends on the size, but 70, 80 euros at a minimum. So those are the wood prices for average guitar woods. Same goes for flame maple tops. They range also from 70, 80 euros all the way up to 210, depending on the figuring and the quality. So I don't know, maybe you can let me know in the comments how this stacks up to where you are from. Just name your body blank, fretboard, neck and top maybe, and average pricing on them. What does encuentro mean? Well, I've already answered this, so quick answer. It comes from Quenya, an Elvish language designed and invented by Tolkien, the writer of Lord of the Rings. And encuentro, translated from Elvish into English, means hollow land. Unquen is hollow, and dor is land in the Elvish language, and translated from English, so Holland land, hollow land in English translated to Dutch is Holland or the Netherlands. So that's where encuentro comes from. So it's guitars from Holland. And I started using that name online years and years ago, when the internet just came into our houses and everyone started to use usernames. You still going? Yeah, for another couple of minutes, but because I really have to go and my batteries are almost empty of the mic, so we'll be silent, ready. I'm going to answer the questions that are in chat right now. Same in Scotland, pine and birch. Good wood is exported. Yeah, we're testing Daniel's batteries. Yeah, stress test, stress test, and everything goes fine, except for the battery life of the mics. But that was to be expected. I pay fairly expensive prices for wood. I get my body wood from Spain. Yeah, there are some good companies, Guitars and Woods for example, good company, they're from Portugal. They have nice jigs, nice tools as well as wood for reasonable prices, as far as I could tell. But for wood I have my fixed supplier, and I'm very loyal to especially my wood supplier, because it's such a great guy. I wish for you all to have a supplier like Rick from Massave. Shout out to Rick if he sees this video. Yeah, just a great guy. Yes, same price as here, Little Wolf, approximately the same. Oh yeah, if you can grab some materials from your work, that's always great. All right, last couple of questions. Three-inch, something like this. All right, that's reasonable. I think that's a reasonable price for such a piece of maple. I don't think you can get it that size, depending on the quality, if you can get it here for that price. But I have a feeling that due to globalization, prices around the world are getting to very similar levels. Maybe I misjudged Little Wolf's comments because I didn't realize they're in pounds. So that's a bit more expensive than it is over here. Dollars, very similar. The dollars and the euro at the moment. Yeah, we're going to call it Little Wolf. Thank you for calling it. Yeah, guys, I could talk to you for hours, but we have to leave something for another time. Yeah, let me know, maybe in the comments on the stream or in another video, if you have a preference for a time for this stream or a frequency, let's say every month, 2 weekly, bi-weekly, how do you call it? Yeah, just let me know. And thank you all very much for your support. And yeah, we talked about it. The importance of leaving a comment, leaving a like, and watching my content. So thank you all very much. It's been very wonderful, and it lasted at least 2 hours longer than I expected it to. So I'm very grateful for you guys showing up, and I hope to see you all in the next video. But as always, until then, be safe and bye bye.